It has just been announced that each member of the United States House of Representatives will receive up to $10,000 in money for home security to protect themselves and their families. Question, isn't this the same body that just banned firearms from our use to protect ourselves? And now they're getting $10,000 apiece to protect their families and their homes? What gives? Hey folks, I'm Mark Smith, host of the Four Boxes Diner, constitutional attorney, member of the U.S. Supreme Court Bar, best-selling author, and proud American gun owner. If you haven't subscribed to the Four Boxes Diner Second Amendment channel, please do so and show your love for the right to keep and bear arms. Okay folks, this is a quick one. I just read today that every member of the United States House of Representatives, that's the House, that's right, the exact same body that voted to take away commonly possessed firearms from Americans that we use for self-defense. That same body, each member of that body is entitled to, just announced, up to $10,000. I repeat, up to $10,000 in money to protect themselves in home security. Now, I certainly want, all Americans to be safe from criminals and the like. I want that to happen. With that said, though, two observations about this. First of all, why is it that a body of Americans are somehow more special than ordinary Americans? Why do members of the House of Representatives get $10,000 for equipment, for security equipment, and on top of that, by the way, they receive $150 per month in monitoring? Now, many of these, not all of them, but many of these people in the U.S. Congress, aren't these the same people that are helping keep our border open? They're trying to defund the police. They're trying to handcuff police officers from doing their job and saving lives and protecting us from criminals. Aren't many of these people the same ones that encourage no bail systems? As you know, no bail means no jail. So these are the same people that are trying to defund the police. They're trying to let criminals out onto the streets. They don't want the criminal justice system to incarcerate as much as they are. And these are also the same people that, in contrast, want to disarm you and I so that we're not able to protect ourselves from these very same criminals that they want to let out onto the streets. What gives? So that's the first observation. But the second observation is really a teaching point for anyone that's pro-gun in the Congress. I'm going to give you this advice, these thoughts, because I'm guessing you probably haven't thought of it yourself. And if you have, good for you. And if you haven't, here's the thought. Now, apparently the way this is working is the Sergeant of Arms, or the Sergeant at Arms, whatever the official title is called there in the U.S. Congress, is allocating up to $10,000 for home security equipment and the like. Great. Here's what I would do. If you support guns in the House, you should say, look, I would like, maybe up to $2,000 to install a robust home security system. That's about what it costs. Shouldn't be much more than that. That's my guess. Okay? But beyond that, that still gives you room for another $7,000 or $8,000 in other security equipment for home. So if you support the right to keep and bear arms, what you should do to set proper precedent for future debates is that as many members of the United States Congress should request that part of those monies that are allocated to them to protect themselves and their families be allocated to firearms that those individual members can use to protect their lives and their families' lives. In fact, I might even go so far as to recommend that members of the Congress that support the Second Amendment should specifically request that the Congress pay for their own personal firearms that are on the list of banned weapons that the House just passed. Wouldn't it be ironic and a lot of fun and actually very helpful for future litigations and precedents, let's say, if as many members of the House of Representatives as possible actually requested that they be allowed to have firearms, specifically AR-15s and AK-47 semi-automatic firearms? Wouldn't it be great if they were able to use these monies that they're giving from the taxpayers to spend on firearms for their homes, and let it be known that they are indeed using firearms to protect themselves and their homes the way the Second Amendment intended? I think that might send a very strong message that people in Congress, other than, of course, we know the anti-gunners in Congress, support the right to keep and bear arms. Again, just food for thought. I'm not in the Congress. I'll never be in the Congress. I have no interest in going into politics or anything like that. But It's just an idea that I think should be considered by those people in Congress that support the right to keep and bear arms. Why don't you use some of that money to support the right to keep and bear arms and not just give money to home security systems, which are out and about? Not that I have a problem with home security systems. I'm perfectly fine with those as well. But I say, let's send a message to the anti-gunners by using some of this $10,000 per congressperson funding to support the gun industry and the Second Amendment and the right to keep and bear arms. Okay, hope you learned something here today at the Four Boxes Diner. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And again, thanks for joining us here at the Four Boxes Diner.
Orders up. Table 2A.